Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is absolutely going to challenge how you understand reality itself. Look, we all know life is full of random events, right? You flip a coin, it lands on heads. You bump into an old friend in a completely new city. And normally, we just brush those moments off as mere chance. But what happens when the math completely breaks down? What happens when events align so perfectly, and I mean so impossibly, that they stop looking like random chance and actually start looking like a glitch in the very fabric of probability? Well, in this explainer, we are going to trace the architecture of improbable coincidence. We're going to look at documented events that completely defy logic, and we'll explore the scientific battleground that's desperately attempting to make sense of them all. So get ready, because by the end of our time together today, you might just look at your own life and your own choices entirely differently.
All right, let's jump right into part one, the Jim twins glitch.
Okay, picture this. You have two identical twin boys, separated at birth and raised in entirely different households. Yet somehow, both adoptive families independently decided to name their new baby boy Jim. Now, that's a neat coincidence on its own, right? But the pattern gets completely mind-bending from there. Both Jims grew up and eventually got married to women named Linda. Then, both of them divorced their Lindas, and both found love again and remarried women named Betty. First wives named Linda, second wives named Betty. It's the kind of thing that just forces you to stop and wonder, how on earth is this even mathematically possible?
Which brings us to part two, history's impossible patterns. Because here's the thing, the Jim twins aren't just some isolated modern fluke. History is actually absolutely littered with these mirrored images. Take the jaw-dropping case of King Umberto I. Imagine being the reigning monarch of Italy, a man holding ultimate power. Yet historical records actually document his encounter with a local restaurant owner who was his exact identical double. And this wasn't just a passing resemblance, you know? It was a mirror image living a parallel life in the exact same era. It is literally as if the universe accidentally copy-pasted a human being into two vastly different socioeconomic realities.
And the line between fiction and reality gets even blurrier when we look at the chillingly accurate Richard Parker's shipwreck prediction. In this case, we see a tragic, incredibly specific shipwreck scenario play out in the real world, matching a seemingly fictional story written years prior with absolute terrifying precision. I'm talking about the names, the context, the grim reality, all of it aligning perfectly. It's moments exactly like this that make statisticians just throw their hands up in the air. So we've got to ask the big question here: coincidence or code? What do you believe right now? When you look at the Jim twins, or King Umberto's double, or that Richard Parker's shipwreck, are you comfortable just writing all of this off as random chance? Or is there this creeping suspicion in the back of your mind that maybe, just maybe, there's a hidden framework to reality we just haven't deciphered yet? Well, that exact question has driven researchers straight out of the realm of philosophy and right into the hard science laboratory. So let's look at part three, the science of coincidence. How do geneticists and psychologists actually analyze a case like the Jim twins without completely giving up on the concept of logic? Well, they frame the whole debate around two massive competing forces: biological versus environmental determinism. Environmental determinism argues that we're basically the product of our surroundings, right? Our hometowns, our schools, our parents. Under that theory, the separated Jim twins should have been completely different people. But then, there's biological determinism. This is the theory that our literal DNA carries incredibly specific instructions that dictate our behaviors, our preferences, and our choices, completely regardless of our environment. The big debate is, does your biology actually override your environment? And that leads us perfectly into part four. Are your choices hard-coded? Now, if biological determinism really does hold the keys to these impossible coincidences, we have to zoom out and apply this science directly to you and me. Every single day, you make small decisions that you totally believe are your own. But look at how deeply this determinism might actually run. The research into these mirrored lives gets unbelievably granular. We're talking about identical genetic pathways leading to hyper-specific choices. Like those separated twins we talked about earlier, both deciding to name their childhood dog Toy. Just think about that for a second. Not just wanting a dog, but spontaneously choosing the exact same name Toy, or even reaching into a fridge for the exact same highly specific brand of beer. The science suggests that even these tiny, seemingly spontaneous, everyday choices might actually be pre-programmed right into our biology. Which leaves us with the ultimate question for this explainer. If twins separated at birth can be driven by their biology to choose the exact same names for their wives, the exact same name for their dog, and the exact same brand of beer, where does your biology end, and where do you actually begin?
When you make your next choice today, what to eat, who to call, what to buy, I really want you to pause. Look at the evidence we've explored today, from the massive macro glitches of history right down to the micro choices of everyday life, and ask yourself, are your choices truly your own?